Today we're going to see how much guitar you can learn in 30 days with just 15 minutes practice per day. Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Elmo Karjalainen. You can call me this guy if my name is tricky to pronounce. Today I'm going to do a kind of 30-day guitar challenge. I'm going to see how much guitar I can learn in 30 days. The problem is that I already know how to play guitar, but I'm going to learn how to play it lefty. I know from trying a couple of times that it's totally impossible. I'm gonna be doing this exercise. And so on. And I'm gonna be using a metronome. Why is a metronome good? Well, because it gives you clear goals and it lets you measure your progress. So if you can do 80 beats per minute, your next goal is whatever the next number is on the metronome. And you can measure your progress and record it, write it down if you want. That gives you added motivation when you notice that you're succeeding. The reason why I'm doing this is because I think that 15 minutes a day, every day, will give you great results, and I'm going to try it on myself. I'm going to show you the beginning of today, and the end of today, and then the end of day 2, end of day 3, end of day 4, and so on. 15 minutes a day, every day, 30 days, see how much I can learn. Pretty sure the beginning will be absolutely terrible. But I'm hoping for results after maybe a week or so. Let's see. So let's try 60 beats per minute. It just feels so wrong. Let's time it. Okay, yeah. Day 8, today I had a bit of a breakthrough. It was because, again, I separated the problem of the left hand and the problem of the right hand. I really upped the tempo. I managed to do the left hand at 120 and the right hand at up to 120, like. The problem is when I move it around, the exercise, that's when I encounter problems. I did briefly manage to do 120, but it deteriorated. But I did 100. Towards the end, I couldn't do 100 either. But let's see. This is what it's like at 100. Yeah, it's been this kind of a day. Absolute horrible rubbish, but then again, uh, keep in mind, or at least I'll try to keep in mind, this is so much better than day 1, or 2, or 3. So there is definitely progress. Okay, so day 16, no progress at all today. So frustrated. I came out here to enjoy the view. I've been at our summer place this week now, going back to town today. But like I said, really frustrating stuff. And there's a lesson there too. You will get frustrated. And if you're lucky, it'll be just small frustrations, but it can be major. It can be a week, weeks, a month, that you think nothing's going your way, you're not improving. But the key there is to just keep going, because you will improve if you keep at it. Do whatever you have to do to get over the frustration. I'll enjoy the lake view. See you tomorrow. Alright, day 18. Well, I actually missed day 18 because sometimes life just happens. I had to coach my daughter's football team in a tournament yesterday. I drove around 5 hours to collect my other daughter from our summer place, and then my wife's sister had a bit of a medical emergency, and it was a bit of a tough day. So I missed that. Well, I'm just going to add that day to the end, and yeah, that stuff happens. Today, I've done my 15 minutes with no real progress. Except, this is the kind of thing that I think really helps. So, my previous best was 160 playing quarter notes. Today I did 104 playing eighth notes, but just on 2 strings to kind of push the boundaries. I also did 104 eighth notes with just the picking hand. And this is what that sounded like, just on the 2 strings. And that's the kind of thing that I think really helps. So I'm betting tomorrow I'll see improvements again. We'll see. All right, so day number 22. Not brilliant. Still stuck. So yeah, I just did my session and no point in me playing anything because you've already seen it. Let's try again tomorrow. Yeah, I've definitely hit some kind of ceiling, so best just to keep working at it and hope it gets better soon. Okay, now there are some mistakes in there, but I will qualify this as a success. Do you know why? Because when I mess up, I don't stop. I can keep going. I can get on board again. It's not perfect. I wouldn't even say it's good, but it's better. Alright, day 28. No progress today. Managed to do 100, then I didn't manage to do 100. So, yep. This is what it sounds like now. Well, day 29, and it's been no progress today, just regression. Couldn't do 100, 96, barely. Really annoyed with my middle finger, which constantly wants to be early. Really annoyed with my left hand. Just really frustrating overall. Here's what it sounds like now. Alright, day 30. I've done about 10 minutes of day 30, so I'm going to show you the rest, the end. Previously, I'd only missed one day, so I've done 29 days, plus I had a day off. Now, I actually missed 2 days in a row because of my kids' football tournament where I was coaching, and that stuff happens. It's just a fact of life. You cannot always get everything the way you want it. Unless you're a teenager, you can probably squeeze in 15 minutes every day. But when you have family, family comes first. So this is what it sounds like now. I actually did 108 BPMs just a second ago. Let's see if I can do that again. Okay, so that was quite an improvement in just 30 days, going from 60 beats per minute to, what was it, 104, I think I did, with eighth notes. It's a huge increase with just 15 minutes a day. Did I learn to play guitar? Well, of course not. I was just doing one exercise. But it's good for hand synchronization, it's good for the picking hand, it's great for the fretting hand, both individually and together. And I certainly had some really big insights during this video. First of all, just as a teacher, I think this was so good for me to do. I can hone in on really small details that I hadn't really thought about as a teacher or as a guitar player before. And I warmly recommend that every guitar teacher does something like this. It takes a bit of time, sure, but I think it was worth it. Secondly, one of the really big things that I knew already, but it kind of hit home, how important this is to hone in on the actual problem. So let's say, for instance, this. If I'm having trouble with my left hand, but my right hand is doing okay, I can just do my left hand. So instead of just doing this, instead of doing that, just do this. And so on. And do it at a faster tempo than you would be able to do combining the two things, because you can really concentrate on that picking hand. Same thing, if you're having trouble with your fretting hand, you can just do that. Although that's a bit more difficult because hammer-ons is a tricky business. But then you can just do maybe one string or two strings because you don't have to shift around as much on your picking hand. So I did this at some point. And I feel it's really helped me. One other takeaway was how powerful it really is to keep doing it every day, whatever it is you're doing. When you do it every day, you just improve so much faster than if you just do, let's say, an hour on Tuesday and an hour on Saturday. Even though that would be more time playing than if you do 15 minutes every day. Even if you did 2 hours on Tuesday and 3 hours on Saturday, I still think 15 minutes every day is better. I've spoken about this elsewhere. Another thing is to start slow enough so that you can concentrate on proper technique so you don't learn bad habits. Bad habits are really difficult to correct later on. But at the same time, when you do get the technique in the ballpark, so you're not doing anything, at least anything terrible, if you want to build speed, push your boundaries, push your limits. It's one thing to work on making it accurate and clean, and another thing to push that speed. So if you're doing, let's say, 100 quarter notes, 100 beats per minute, and that's kind of where you're at, try doing 110 and then go back to 100. You might see some improvements. And you could, like I said, just pick the notes with your left hand at a really fast pace, do two strings at a faster pace. That could also really help. At least I think it did help me. Also try to really focus when you do this. So I would, when I did this, I would lock myself in my room, in my study, my workspace, whatever you want to call it, so that I would not be distracted by the kids as much. I tried to practice when no one was home, if possible. I tried to come to the studio every now and then when there was no one here. One mistake that I did make was that I didn't turn off my phone. I didn't put it in flight mode, so I did sometimes get notifications, and I noticed often when I got a notification that I started messing things up because the flow was interrupted. So it's really important to focus. So if I were to do this again, I would turn off notifications on my phone. The obvious thing here is, of course, that I knew what it should look like and feel like, which for a beginner guitar player would not be the case. So I was able to correct stuff that I was doing wrong fairly quickly, but that's where you get the value of a good teacher, because they can correct that stuff for you. If you don't have a teacher, you can try to look at how other people are doing whatever it is you're practicing and try to mimic everything that their hand is doing. For instance, thumb positioning on your fretting hand is really important. Where you have your picking hand in relation to everything else is really important, and you can help your chances of succeeding by actually looking at someone who does it correctly, or even better, having a teacher who will explain that stuff. So for me, I was surprised that I had to have the thumb almost like that. Don't know if you can see that, but like that, for good reach. That's not really how I most often play guitar. I most often play with the thumb over here, but I do this exercise with the thumb behind the neck in almost this kind of a position. Just one example. Also, if I were to do this again, something similar as a lefty, maybe learn a song or something, I would actually go out and buy a left-handed guitar or borrow one from somewhere, because I did notice that all of the volume and tone knobs, they kept getting in the way. It's not really an excuse for not doing better, it's just it was a bit annoying, and it did kind of sometimes interrupt the flow a bit. Anyway, that's 30 days with astonishing results, really, because I hadn't expected it to go that well. I knew it was going to be tricky, but I thought it was going to be trickier. So yeah, that was really interesting. If you want to watch more on this 15 minutes per day thing, there's a video here. Please check out my Patreon. You get access to all of my music lessons and a bunch of exclusives. There's a link in the description. You can even take that stuff for free. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a nice day. Take care. Bye!